Slovenia is home to some amazingly flavored dishes and hearty meals, and Ljubljana is the place to be to dine on some great Slovenian cuisine ranging from street food to Michelin star restaurants. In this video, we're eating it all and walking through the top foods you need to try when you visit Ljubljana. We're also adding a bonus stop to Slovenia's famous Lake Bled in here too, so let's dive in. To start our food tour, we're heading to a great local spot in the heart of Ljubljana's Old Town to sample some classic Slovenian dishes. Here, the food is made fresh, and the smell of it cooking in the kitchen is to die for.
Here we have a spread of Carniolan sausage. This comes with bread as well as mustard and horseradish, and we got the whole size. We're pretty hungry, so I think that'll be pretty easy to finish. We've heard great things about this place. As you can probably tell, it's pretty busy. They actually have seating outside, which is nice, but we couldn't get a table because it's so busy, so we're just standing outside, which is actually working perfectly for us. So I'm excited to dive into this sausage. We have had kielbasa last time we were in Slovenia. I think that's a pretty typical dish here, but we're excited to try this take on it. And I actually have Slovenian sausage at home as well because my family is Slovenian, and I have to say it's my favorite sausage that we get from the grocery store. So I'm gonna put some mustard on this and dive in for my first bite. Wow, that is an incredibly juicy, thick bite, and it almost has kind of a sweetness to it. I'm gonna go in for a horseradish bite here too. Take a heaping glob, maybe it'll clear my sinuses. Wow. Whew. There's the horseradish. That is really good. And the flavors aren't too overpowering in there too. That is a really nice bite. And I'm excited to try it with the stew too. I think it'll make a nice, warm, hearty meal, even though it's the middle of summer here.
The other dish we got here is called Istrian Stew, and this is a classic Slovenian dish. We're told it originated around the coast, and it was made of very simple ingredients, making it accessible to most people. Over time, they started adding new things to the dish, so now it has barley and beans in there to make it a little more hearty. I don't think I've ever had a stew with sauerkraut in it before, so I'm really excited to dive into this. Going for my first bite here. It seems to be a lot of sauerkraut on there. Wow. You definitely get the acidity and fermented flavors of the sauerkraut. It's definitely the star of the soup. You still get like a brothy flavor to it. So I think it's definitely like if you'd almost mix like chicken stock and sauerkraut together and make it into a nice soup form. It's definitely a unique flavor I've never had before. And as someone that loves sauerkraut, it's definitely up my alley. And both these dishes were served with piping hot bread fresh out of the oven. So I think for dipping in the soup and scraping up the last bits of sauerkraut, these are going to be amazing.
And one more thing we're really loving about this place is it seems like the mustard and the sauerkraut are homemade, and you can really tell it's really good sauces.
Yeah, and we actually weren't gonna even show the bread, but we just took a bite and it's actually pretty amazing. And it's very light and fluffy with a nice crust on it. It pairs perfectly with all of the hearty things we have going on here. Next, we're heading along the river to try an iconic Slovenian dessert that this area is known for. For this, we strolled along the river and found a nice table with amazing views.
So what we have here is an iconic Slovenian dessert. This is their layer cake. It's very similar to the cream cake we've had in Bled, but this one seems to have way more layers and supposedly way more flavors. So we're really excited to try this. It looks absolutely beautiful with the powdered sugar on top and the different colors you see in each layer. With my sweet tooth, I can't wait to dive into this. I'm gonna go for my first bite here. Here goes. That's really interesting. It's not very sweet. I think there's like apples and maybe even raisins in there that add the sweetness of fruit without the sweetness of added sugar. I'm gonna go for another bite here. Oh, brother. It's almost like a fruit pie mixed with like a quiche, but with fruit and I think maybe in walnuts and maybe raisins in there. And the whole cake's served pretty warm, so definitely one of the more interesting sweets we've had. I don't know if it's my favorite cake I've had, but it's still a nice sweet on a hot day. Next up, you'll need to try one of the classic Ljubljana oddities found in this city, the fresh milk vending machines. So another iconic thing you need to do when you come to Ljubljana is check out their fresh milk vending machine. Believe it or not, for 30 euro cents, there's a vending machine that disperses these empty plastic bottles. I think $1 you could actually get a glass bottle, and it's located right next to this milk vending machine. So I don't know if I can drink a liter of milk on the spot, but I'm told this is something you have to do when you come to Ljubljana. So to start filling up the milk, I think I just put a few more coins in here and then it opens up and I can start filling. So let's see if that works. And it just opens like that? That's like straight out of a science fiction movie. All right, this might be a two-hand operation. So here goes nothing. No way. That's awesome. Wow, and it's ice cold. That's amazing. I guess I gotta have a sip here while it's fresh as possible, so cheers. That's actually really nice. I almost feel like a kid drinking just a glass of milk again. That is so nice and refreshing. And I think it's actually unpasteurized milk, so I think you can't even get this in the US, which is probably why it tasted that much sweeter. That's actually delicious. And not only is this milk sweet, it's great for sharing too. Bottoms up. And while we're talking about milk vending machines, be sure to check out our top things to do in Ljubljana video if you want to see some of the other amazing things to do in the Slovenian capital. We also have another video that's a Ljubljana travel guide walking through all the details you need to know about planning a successful trip to Ljubljana, so check that out as well. Now let's jump to Courtney for the next stop on the food tour.
The next stop on our food tour is taking us to an upscale restaurant right in Ljubljana's Old Town. For this, we're wining and dining on some delicious food with great company. So we have the goulash here with polenta on top. We've had goulash in Hungary before, but I'm assuming this is the Slovenian take on it. And it looks like there are pretty hearty beef chunks in the goulash. So I'm gonna dive right in here. Wow. Wow, that beef is really melts in your mouth. And there's definitely a smoky feel to it too. So I'm gonna go into the polenta here and get a good polenta goulash bite. That's a really interesting pairing. I don't think I normally would have put those two flavors together, but the polenta just really soaks up the savoriness of the goulash. Yeah, that's a good bite. Really interesting, not really what I was expecting.
So what I have here is mushroom risotto, and I know that might not seem like a very Slovenian dish, but I do know they have a lot of simple carbs, and believe it or not, Slovenia is very close to Italy, so I'm still really excited to try this. I think the best mushroom risotto I've had is actually in Wisconsin, so we're gonna see if this can live up to the taste, but I'm a sucker for risotto, so I'm gonna dive into this. That is really good. It's really creamy, almost kind of beefy, even though it's more mushroom based, and just really warm and hearty. I feel like it's definitely a meal you'd want on a cold day. I know we're having it midsummer. Really good risotto. Our next stop on the food tour is taking us to a restaurant known for its classic Slovenian dishes. Here, we're sampling a few more Slovenian staples while seated along one of Ljubljana's beautiful walkways. So we're really excited to try this restaurant. It also looks like it has a lot of Slovenian dishes here. We are blown away with this soup we ordered. So it looks like it's served in kind of like a bread bowl, but way more vertical than the ones you're used to at Panera. It looks kind of like it's a brown, brothy soup. So I'm really excited to dive into this. I think there's always an art when it comes to eating bread bowls, where you're trying to get a little bit of the bread in the scoop. But it looks really thick. I'm gonna go in for this first bite here. Wow. I really don't know how to describe it. It's got a very peppery taste, almost like a mix of gravy and pot pie mixed together. And with the bread in there, it almost does have that kind of pot pie-ness with the carbs you can kind of scrape. That's a really fun take on soup. I like it a lot. And I know we already had sausage and sauerkraut at another location here in Ljubljana, so clearly this is proving it's a very iconic dish. This one seems to be served with a scoop of potatoes that have a very interesting color to them. It almost looks like there's onions or maybe even cabbage in the potatoes, so I'm really excited to dive into this. It looks beautiful, and with the Slovenian flag on top, such a fun looking dish. Here we go. Very creamy potatoes, and there definitely is a hint of acidity in there, so I do think it might have some fermented cabbage in there. Possibly even some sauerkraut. I think it is one of the more refreshing potatoes I've had. I feel like normally potatoes are so heavy with cream and garlic, and this acidity in there, it's actually a really refreshing take on the potato.
And so I got what I think is a cheese dumpling, and it looks like it's in a pool of gravy. I haven't had anything like this before, so it should be a pretty interesting bite here. I'm just gonna dive right in. I hope I don't sink my flag. I might pull that out. It looks impossible to eat this without getting a heap of gravy, so I'll just dive right in. Yeah, the dumplings are pretty noodly. The main flavor is coming from the gravy here. The dumplings aren't too overpowering at all, but nice and chewy. And the gravy's nice thick, warm, and mushroomy. So that's super cozy, and I don't think I've had anything else like this. Pretty good. Next on our food tour, we're traveling to Ljubljana's Central Market. This area is famous for its lively street vendors selling fruits and vegetables 6 days of the week. And in the summer, this is the lively area where Ljubljana's outdoor kitchen is held, which are food festivals where locals, travelers, ostriches, and even mechanical bulls can dine together in the outdoor market. Yeehaw!
So we are sitting in the public market area, and there are tons of food stalls behind us. We're here early September, just past noon, and we picked up a cheeseburger, and we picked up an iconic Slovenian beer that we've been seeing all over town. They advertise on just about everything here. So we're really excited to try this. The cheeseburger looks really good itself. I know Slovenia makes horse burgers, and we're really hoping this is beef. It said beef on the sign, so knock on wood that that's the case. But I'm really excited to dive into this beer here. So I'm gonna give it a quick little pour. And while I wait for my pouring job to settle down, I'm just gonna drink out of the can here. It's a really nice lager. It has a nice citrusy floral flavor to it. It's got almost like some hops in there, but not too much like an IPA, more like a standard lager beer. I think it's 4.6% alcohol, so right in that good lager range. All in all, really good beer. Cheers, Slovenia. Next on our food tour, we're wandering down Ljubljana's Riverwalk to grab a sweet treat from one of Ljubljana's most famous ice cream parlors, Cacao.
So we are at Cacao in Ljubljana. It's kind of funny because we actually went here last time we went to Ljubljana and we remembered loving it. This time we're actually sitting down and getting table service ice cream, which I don't think I've ever had before. And this presentation is absolutely amazing. As you can see, they flipped it upside down into a bowl, which is actually nice because we've had a lot of drippy gelato and ice cream lately. So it's nice that it's catching it for us. But we just got the tiramisu flavor. I'm gonna dive in here. Wow, it's almost like coffee ice cream with ribbons of chocolate fudge throughout it. That's actually incredible. I'm gonna go in for another scoop here. What's also kind of nice is we're that crazy couple that shares every food item that we order. So this is the perfect setup for that. We got 2 spoons and a bowl to eat from. So it's a nice sweet treat for the end of the day. And as we're diving further into this, we actually realized there is a layer of cocoa powder within this ice cream cone. Pretty fancy.
Next up, we're heading all the way up to Ljubljana's iconic castle to visit the grounds and, more importantly, step into the Michelin star restaurant in the castle turret. For this, we're joined by some of our closest family and friends to celebrate our upcoming wedding at Lake Bled. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this section, and we're going to turn the camera around on some of our esteemed guests. We're keeping it loose.
So let's just all laugh together and watch.
What?
Ciao. Ciao?
Is this actually mango?
Can you brush behind my cheeks?
Sam, what do you have to say?
Oh, incredible experience.
Hello there.
You would put in a quarter and
Nastraje.
There we go.
Everything okay? So I'm about to try the second course with the dinner in the Ljubljana Castle. So here we go, let's dig in. Get a good bite, a little bit of everything. The textures are just, they conform well with each other. It's crunchy, it's chewy, very smooth. And the umami flavor, it really just, it opens everything up. It's wonderful.
And what are you pairing that with today?
So we have this amazing Slovenian wine, aged in oak and also concrete. Let's try it. It's bitter but earthy. You can taste the sweetness of the grapes too. Everything just combines beautifully together. It's wonderful. Hvala. How'd I do, Legs? That was great. Yeah? You're gonna use it?
I would like to explain to you the course 5 that we're having right now. My interpretation was halibut encrusted with dolmas, baby asparagus coming from the Lord of the Rings, with basil on top. Apparently, the real interpretation is Adriatic Sea flaky fish with spinach on the side. We'll see what it tastes like. And then next time, Steve Purdy will tell you what course 6 will prevail.
So we are on course 6, and we have a Midwestern favorite, beef, right out of the field. An untraditional twist with intestines on a cracker and a dollop of mud. Let's see how this tastes. Good.
So that's all we have for our Ljubljana food tour. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel to see our upcoming travel videos. Next up, we're headed to Lake Bled to get married. And as a little sneak peek for that, we're jumping to Hotel Adora at Lake Bled to show our little dinner under the stars.
This is officially our last supper as fiancés. Can't think of a better spot to go with a bang with than a beautiful Lake Bled with my beautiful Courtney. So we're at the beautiful Lake Bled. You can see it right through here. Absolutely gorgeous. Amazing dinner right here. All right, everyone, say cheese.
There he is.
All right, going down the list. Favorite memory of the trip so far? Go.
Doing the roller coaster today.
Swimming Lake Bled.
Winter Gorge.
Swimming in Lake Bled.
Swimming Lake Bled.
Swimming in Lake Bled.
Mike, favorite memory of the trip so far?
Coming here to Lake Bled.
Adriana?
Putting cracked pepper on my burrata.
Steven?
Traveling through little villages.
Cannonballs into Lake Bled.
Appian Way.
I'll go with the Winter Gorge.
Excellent. Frank, favorite moment of the trip so far?
Jumping in the Bled.
Michelle?
Oh, I don't know. It was all that castle. That was fantastic. Castle.
Sweetie?
Mountain coaster.
Michael? Dad?
The wonderful views, the mountains, the lake, all of that. I love that.
And I have loved being at the cafes and talking to so many of the people here. It's been lots of fun.
We have redemption.
We had a pirate bar that we went to, which was very piratey.
Pirate Bar's the winner. My favorite part is just getting to be here with everybody and bouncing around from some amazing views and amazing conversations. So, until next time.
And now for something completely different.
Everything okay? Everything okay? Everything okay? 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 It opens everything up. The umami flavor. Okay? Okay? Chivala.